Well, folks, we've got a great show in store for you today. We will be sitting down with Drew Walston, the founder and CEO of Mighty Hero Homes. But first,
Hello, friends, and welcome to another exciting episode of Today with Tally. The mission and goal of this podcast is to bring an engaging conversation that will add value to the lives of everyday people. We will inspire, encourage, educate, and tell the stories of America's finest men and women in an effort to motivate you to live your life to its fullest potential. Be sure to follow us on social media and search Today with Tally. Be sure to subscribe, follow, and share the program as well. Ladies and gentlemen, your host of the evening, Mr. Brian Tally.
the mission. The mission is simple, folks: to eradicate veteran homelessness in America by providing affordable, permanent homes to all homeless veterans in safe environments with a full array of on-base amenities. That's right. The founder of Mighty Hero Homes is calling these communities bases, something that these veterans know and understand. And I tell you, I've done some research on Drew and his vision and his team, and have actually seen the blueprint of some of these communities. And folks, let me tell you, it is state of the art. And with that, we are honored to be joined by the man himself, Mr. Drew Walston. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much for having me on your show today.
Look, the pleasure is all mine. When you guys reached out to me via LinkedIn, I believe we were connected with some of your marketing staff, and they sent me the email. I did my due diligence. I looked into you. I looked into the website. I looked into the community plans of what your vision is and the scope of work that it's going to take to get there. And I was immediately engaged. I love the plans of this neighborhood, if you will, these on-site bases that will come with amenities as you would find on really any military installation, from barbershops to green spaces to places for these veterans to hang out and, break bread and share in fellowship and stories and everything else. And really, it's a tremendous, tremendous idea and a tremendous plan. Now, where you're at right now is trying to follow through with the vision, correct?
Yes, sir. The Lord laid this on my heart almost 4 years ago, actually. And I'm disappointed to say that I spent a year of disobedience trying to negotiate with him to convince him he'd chosen the wrong person, that I didn't have the time or the resources or the credibility, because I'm not a veteran, to lead this initiative. And after a year of unsuccessful negotiation, I felt the calling so strongly. I said, Lord, here I am, send me, not really knowing what that meant. But I recall good advice that I had received in the past, that if you feel led to serve, don't feel as if you have to create something or start something. Go find out where people are doing great work and join them there. So I actually sought to do that, thinking that I could write a check to someone or lend to them my business experience, check the box, say, Lord, I've done what you've asked me to do, and then go do what Drew wanted to do. But in my research, I unfortunately found that there are a lot of people doing excellent work to service our veterans, but I couldn't find a single organization that I felt was on the trajectory to eradicate veteran homelessness, to end veteran homelessness. We believe that the only true solution to ending this crisis, and we call it a crisis because it truly is a stain on our country's history, is to provide affordable, permanent homes for our veterans. And in fact, we take that to the next level, that our model provides a permanent home to a previously homeless veteran from which they never have to move, but that they also can own. And we are developing models that will allow veterans who are currently on the streets or in the woods, couch surfing, to be a homeowner on a Mighty Hero home base within a period of 2 years of moving on to the base.
Very good. Now, like you said, I'm not a veteran, so, am I worthy of this cause? I tell people, look, this podcast here, I have a ton of veterans on the show. And I also have a lot of folks that never served in the military in this show. And a lot of them feel, like Look, I'm not a veteran, so thanks for having me. I don't know. This show is about adding value to the lives of everyday people.
Amen.
And you don't need to serve in the military and be a nation veteran, if you will, to add value to your country. You could serve in so many different capacities in this country. Like I say all the time, look, I pick up trash in my neighborhood when I walk in the community. So again, that's serving your community. You have a lot of experience to bring to the table. I mean, you've got a solid resume here that I looked at when I was going over your bio. Now, what can you bring to the table as a business owner, as a entrepreneur, as a guy who's been there, done that, and has been very successful in managing a broad scope of not only money, but resources and actually following through with the construction of so many past and previous projects? What can Drew bring to the table in seeing this into reality?
Yeah, great question. And honestly, what I can bring to the table is obedience, is sincerely following through with what I've been called to do. My 37 years of business experience, throughout that tenure, I obviously thought I was being driven to gain wealth or to gain recognition or a variety of things. But I've come to learn that the Lord has given me those 37 years of experience to prepare me for this job. My purpose, if you will. I have the team that has joined me is I could hire the most storied recruiting firm in the country and could not come up with a better staff of folks from all walks of life, truly operating on a personal call, but together we're doing some pretty exciting things. Also, in addition to our staff, the companies and corporations who have believed in our mission, our construction partner, our engineering partners, our project management firms, our strategic partners for veteran care and canine training, providing healthy food options to our veterans when they come onto base. It's truly establishing and creating a community that we believe that the results of which will provide a model that's sustainable, scalable, and will be effective in not just helping or impacting, but truly being a model that can be replicated throughout the country to end veteran homelessness in our country.
Again, folks, we are being joined by Drew Walston, the founder and CEO of Mighty Hero Homes. I've seen his blueprint on his communities, on these community bases, if you will, that he has a vision of eradicating veteran homelessness as we know it in the United States of America through his core mission. And everything that I'm seeing him lay out on his website, it completely makes sense, and it's beautiful, folks. I mean, I can tell you right now, I mean, this is going to be a place where a lot of lives can be recreated or reinvented, and really have a lot of people that are going to be reborn, especially coming off the streets. They could be going through a lot of life challenges, substance abuse, alcohol abuse, so on and so forth. Is this a camp? Is this a base, if you will? These communities that you vision here, how are we going to get these veterans off of bad habits into good habits, into developing a citizen that can again be productive in society?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything in terms of the design of our base and our strategy of engaging the local community is to reinstill a sense of hope, belonging, and community to each base resident. The bracelet I wear each and every day, and our tagline is "Because they deserve better." And those 4 words actually drive everything that we do from a design standpoint, from a service delivery standpoint. We know that to take a veteran or anyone that's homeless directly off of the streets and put them in a home such as a Mighty Hero home is not setting them up to succeed on most occasions. We believe there will be many people who are at risk of becoming homeless, who have been successfully living on their own for a period of time And if not, but for a Mighty Hero home base, they will go to the streets. We believe that there would be certainly some options where people can move directly from where they are today into a Mighty Hero home base. But we also know that a large majority of folks will need some assistance before they're ready for independent living. And that's why we partner with great organizations like Flanders Fields, Stop Soldier Suicide, the VA, to ensure that the veterans that are ready to move on to a base are healthy, emotionally stable, ready to make a commitment to be a part of a thriving society. The concept of home ownership, we're going to give a veteran the opportunity to begin to have equity in that home from day one, so that after 2 years, they will actually be able to take, pending they carry through with the program, to be able to have their name on the deed of that home. But we believe that'll do a couple of things. One, it will provide them a reason to take care of the property and to make sure that their neighbor takes care of their property. But it also is something to work for. So many folks that are on the streets today have lost that hope, and they're not planning for the future, and they're not dreaming about things that are to come. So we want to provide that opportunity from the moment they walk on to our base. We begin to talk about the fact that we're not building homeless veteran bases. A veteran will no longer be homeless the day they walk onto a Mighty Hero home base and become a base resident. So we're building bases for the future. Our messaging is not one of sadness. We're not showing pictures of folks that are experiencing rock bottom right now. Our message is one of hope. If you would have asked me 4 years ago, Drew, what's the win of what you're seeking to accomplish? I would have intuitively said, well, when we hand over the last key to the last homeless veteran, we can check the box and say we accomplished the mission. That's really dramatically changed over the years. That the real win is when we have 84 men and women who have been highly trained, highly skilled, highly patriotic, once had the keys to $1 million pieces of equipment and the lives of many, many people in their hands. When we provide them hope again and we provide them purpose again, when that talent is unleashed into the communities where Mighty Hero home bases are built, we believe those communities will be transformed for generations to come.
I like how you said that, when you're bringing in these veterans, they're going to start to feel their life turn around immediately. And I think a lot of that is because of the responsibility that they are going to be taking on once again that they haven't had for quite some time. And then the pride of ownership, keeping things clean and saying, this is mine. I'm proud of this. And I want to keep it neat and tidy. And again, I think it's that responsibility piece that will really let them know that they're appreciated again and they're valued and there is hope, like you like to say, there is hope out there. Now, in the eyes of Drew Walston, in your opinion, what has led so many veterans to the streets? And additionally, what do you think is the root cause of veteran homelessness?
Yeah. And I put myself in this category, but when I think a lot of people see folks that are homeless, especially a veteran, there's an immediate thought that maybe that they're lazy or that they've made bad decisions or that decisions to become involved in drugs and alcohol has led them to this position. But what we've really found through our research and the fact that we're contacted daily by veterans who are experiencing homelessness or the risk of homelessness is that many veterans became homeless initially because there was an event in their life, whether it was a storm that damaged their home or a divorce or an illness or an unexpected bill that couldn't be paid that led to other bills that couldn't be paid, which led to an eviction, which led to a spiraling effect of being desolate. The fastest growing segment of veteran homelessness right now is in the female veteran with children population. many times the decisions that were made or the activities that led to homelessness with single mothers with children were not of them. There was a divorce or a situation that the primary breadwinner was no longer in the picture, and the mother did not have the skills or the job or the opportunity to continue on as the family may have been successfully living, rendering her and her children on the street. So we're also, in addition to single homes for veterans, we're building family homes on each base. And quite frankly, we've upped our estimate for how many family homes we'll have on each base in light of that disappointing statistic that I just shared. So we want to make sure that when the veterans come to us through our training center and through our engagement with the local community, each of the veterans that come onto that base will be adopted by a local business, a civic organization, a church, under our Welcome Home Mighty Hero program, to not only stock their pantry and provide them sheets and towels and things of that nature, but to provide them an invitation to attend their church, go to the Friday night football game, come to Thanksgiving dinner, but more so to establish a name. Many of these may come from a different city or a different location. And the VA suggested to us that when we open our first base, we'll have 1,000 people applying to get into our 84 home base, our first base. We know that there are, the latest numbers reported by the VA are that there are 33,000. Based on our research, we believe that number is low, and we think it can be as high as many as 75,000 homeless veterans in the country. But to your question, in terms of what led to that, oftentimes it's a single occurrence. Sometimes it's a veteran that got caught doing what you and I perhaps didn't get caught doing, or one bad decision. The research really indicates that there is no one cause for it. If that one cause could be identified, there perhaps could be a solution on the front end. But it's anybody at any time is susceptible to being homeless. And we believe homelessness in general is unacceptable. Homelessness amongst those who served and sacrificed for our country is absolutely unacceptable.
So the statistics right now that you're getting from the VA is anywhere between 33,000 to 75,000 homeless veterans on the streets of America right now.
The VA reports as of January of 2022, their point in time count was 33,000, reportedly down from 37,000 the prior year. That count is very specific to people who are actually pointed to and identified on the streets on any given night in a month of January. We know from our experience in our daily contact that there are veterans who are spending their last dollar in a hotel room to keep their family from having to go to the streets or the woods the very next day. We know there are veterans who are wearing out their welcome, sleeping on the couches of friends and they have nowhere else to go. We know there are veterans. We met with a veteran some time ago in the woods behind a Chick-fil-A on a very traveled boulevard across the street from our hospital in this county. It was a homeless camp that had been established there for 3 years. This veteran had lived there for 3 years. He was nowhere on the radar screen for any point in time count. Very sad situation in talking to that particular veteran. This veteran was a Vietnam era combat medic. I could tell from the very beginning, very skilled. He was a born leader. Upon exiting from the military, he was a successful contractor. But quite frankly, Brian, when I was talking to him, it was hard for me to focus on what he was saying because the skin was literally peeling off of his face due to sun exposure of being in the woods for so long. It doesn't take a lot of those stories and those experiences to feel the motivation that we feel and the urgency that we feel to not just have a vision, not just have a plan, but to execute that plan. And that plan is going to require resources. Our total budget, $7.2 billion, which on a personal level far exceeds my ability to comprehend it. But we believe there are enough American patriots out there who will, when we are able to share with them the reality share with them a viable, scalable plan. We believe there are enough patriots in America that will join us in giving a nominal personal donation so that our veterans can have the hope and the desire to move forward in life as you and I do.
Mm-hmm. Sure. You know, what I see a lot of in today's present times that we're in is a lot of these tent cities going up all over the country, and these major U.S. Metropolitan cities like San Diego, L.A., Houston, Chicago, New York, Philadelphia. They're just. It almost seems as if it's like a new fad to go get a tent and begin to build your own communities. Now, I know there's probably veterans in this community, in these communities mixed in with, just other civilians. And it's almost as if they want to live outside, a lot of these folks, and they're building their own communities, and they're living under bridges, and they have barbecues, and they have dogs, and they have chop shops where, people bring in bicycles and they sell them. I mean, the stuff I've seen even behind Angel Stadium in Orange County, they call it Skid River. It's kind of like the Skid Row of Orange County. They have literally built neighborhoods in there, and they're living in trash. They're living in garbage and feces and rodents. And I mean, you start talking about infectious disease, typhus, and and the cities need to come out and spray the sidewalks. You got hepatitis, STDs. I mean, it's become a very big health issue in this country. And are you finding, have you put on your boots? And I had, you had said that you had gone into the woods and you had spoken to that one Vietnam veteran. Have you ever put on your boots and gone and experienced some of these encampments to really understand what's going through the minds of some of these homeless folks?
Absolutely. We did a backpack giveaway outside the LA VA Medical Center. There are literally thousands of homeless veterans in tents, proudly displaying their American flag, proudly proclaiming that they're veterans, literally within a 5-iron shot from one of the largest VA medical centers in the country. And to your point about the perception that they want to do that, we interpret that as they want community, and they want to be around the people who can identify with them, who will support them, and who will help them get through what they're currently experiencing. We believe that there's far more in store for these heroes, and we don't just label that term. We truly believe you serve our country, you put your life on the line. Even if you weren't deployed, you missed births of your children, you missed holidays, you missed life experiences, being ready, being trained to defend our freedoms and defend our country. But we believe that same spirit of getting together and supporting one another will resonate on our bases, but in a healthy environment where medication is regulated, where counseling services are available 24/7, where training and skills are able to be achieved in our training center, in our community center, where there are opportunities on base for employment, such as commercial gardens, being certified as a canine trainer to help train companion dogs and service dogs that will be exported to other veterans suffering from PTSD across the country. Going back to the community engagement component is working with the community. We want the community to come onto the base, to be able to participate in the things that are on the base, and the base residents to go into the community. To us, while we call it a base, my instruction to our designers and our folks who are creating these bases is that anyone that were to drive by Mighty Hero Homes base, I want their comment to be, you know what, those homes are a little small, but I would live there. So from an amenity standpoint, from an aesthetic standpoint, location, the way it's designed, and the way that it looks and integrates into the community. I wish I could build them all 3,000 square foot homes, but these are smaller homes. We don't like to say tiny home because our heroes deserve something more. A Mighty Hero home seemed to fit the bill more in terms of description. But we also had to create a solution and a system that could build enough homes at 33 to 75,000. If we traditionally build homes as most homes are currently built, we would not be able to scratch the surface in my lifetime. So we have worked with some tremendous partnering companies, Extreme Panel Technologies, Rayland Construction, Bowman Engineering, to create the process where homes can be partially the components of the home created in a factory environment, 363 days a year, high levels of quality, low waste, high throughput, so that when a base is ready for vertical construction, those structural insulated panels are the core of our core section technology of construction technology. These homes can be built in record speed without cutting any corners. They'll pass all local inspection and regulations from wind load, snow load, but they can be installed quickly. Many of our components have 20, 30, 50-year warranties, and we believe these homes will absolutely last 20 years without the need for any major refurbishments. And if our veterans are going to invest in this by way of resources and time and effort, we know that it needs to be a quality product that will stand the test of time.
Sure. Now, I want to try to get back into the head of these homeless veterans. You had mentioned that you had met the one Vietnam War era veteran that was living in the woods. And I think that's when the majority, I think that's when homelessness for veterans began really in America, is the Vietnam War. When they came home, a lot of them, were shunned away, and they were called baby killers, and they had eggs thrown on them. And it was a really horrible time in our nation's history on how these veterans were treated for just going out and doing their job and doing what they were asked to do in an honorable way. To come home, to not even be welcomed home. Again, it led a lot of these guys to the streets, and they would build their own communities, like you said, and they would end up just living a life of homelessness until somebody like a Drew would come by to perhaps give them a hand up and not a hand out. Now, you had described this man as being a born leader, somebody that was smart and, perhaps somewhat educated. Why is he still on the streets? So as somebody that's a born leader, I mean, are there no opportunities for somebody like him who's, kind of dirty, needs a shower, maybe a shave? I just don't understand how a guy like that has been homeless for so long, other than, is there some other underlying conditions out there, like, the post-traumatic stress piece, the alcohol piece, the drug piece? Did he seem sober, or was there something maybe not quite right with him?
Well, and that's just one example of many that I could share with you. And it doesn't start with all the symptoms. It doesn't start with having drug and alcohol addiction and having no hope and suicidal ideations. All of these things compound one another, and they grow over time. Oftentimes it is drug and alcohol issues that will keep someone homeless, but it's not necessarily the driver of homelessness. We live in a very tough financial world right now with inflation, and I know every American citizen is realizing it. So a large factor of homelessness right now is just the fact that there is not enough affordable living structures, in the United States. Thus, our need to create tens of thousands of those. Many of the veterans that like this gentleman here, when I say he's a born leader, you can tell when you meet with someone and the way they approach challenges and the way that they handle themselves, that they have certainly leadership capabilities. This particular gentleman hadn't had a bath or a haircut or clothes in a long time, but his leadership abilities allowed him to organize this camp in the woods. They had security systems, wires with hubcaps tied to them. So if there were an intruder in the night, someone would trip over these wires and give an audible indication that someone was there. They had cold storage food. They had warm storage. They had the ability to stay out of the rain. So that's leadership for him to be able to prepare his camp and his campmates to have the ability to live at that time, the only place that they could live. But the PTSD and TBIs are a large driver, and I'm not an expert in this by no stretch of the imagination, but the experts that we have met with and we consult with, and many will tell you that many issues are undiagnosed or don't manifest until they're in stressful situations. Sometimes something that could be easily managed by way of medication or counseling becomes a need to mask it, and the mask on the streets is drugs and alcohol. So something that was at one point in time smaller and manageable now becomes a drug and alcohol addiction issue, which compounds the PTSD, leads to theft and fighting and incarceration, and the spiral gets quick and it gets deep and it gets very difficult to overcome.
Sure. Drew, let's take a quick 30-second break. Please stay with me as your mic will be hot as well. I just want to give a quick shout out to today's show sponsor. Grill Your Ass Off has been featured on Fox Business, Fox and Friends, Forbes, Hiring America, and 360 magazine. That's right, folks. Grill Your Ass Off is today's show sponsor. Now, Grill Your Ass Off is a veteran-owned, Texas-based spice and seasoning company that is exploding on a national level. And actually, this last weekend, I wake up on, I think it was Sunday morning, and I see my great friend, Jason Murph, the owner, CEO of Grill Your Ass Off, is right there in New York City with his spices, and they've got briskets and all this stuff out. And he's out there with the biggest names on Fox and Friends. And he's out there showing all of his spices and seasonings. It was awesome. My son goes, "Dad, there's your guy. There's Jason." And I was like, wow, man, I'm pretty proud of that guy. Now, since the company's creation in 2016, Grill Your Ass Off has been on a wild roller coaster of unprecedented growth, becoming one of the fastest growing veteran-owned seasoning companies in America. Now, check out their wide variety of unique seasonings, spices, sauces, and much more by visiting grillyourassoff.com. Today, it is veteran-owned and Texas-made. Folks, see for yourself. Check them out online once again today at grillyourassoff.com. That's grillyourassoff.com. Or call today, 328-645-5856. Taste the freedom. You will not be disappointed. Folks, we are back with Drew Walston, the CEO and the founder of Mighty Hero Homes. Now, Drew, you had talked about in the opening that you have built a dream team, if you will, comprised of leaders. You said, man, I couldn't go to bed and dream of a better team. And you did, and you got it. What is the daily mission of that team at Mighty Hero Homes?
Yeah, absolutely. We are right now, in light of our stage in development, we have an entire team that's focused daily on creating our what we call Operation Because They Deserve Better campaign. In that campaign, we have interviewed a number of national marketing firms to come along beside us and help us achieve our objective. We've recently just made the decision to hire an Atlanta-based firm that we're very excited about and can't wait to launch. But briefly, this team is focused for Operation Because They Deserve Better. Going back to what I mentioned previously, we believe that there are American patriots that want to be involved and want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. So we're going to ask through this campaign over a short period of time, mind-blowing numbers. We're asking 1 million American patriots to give a one-time $100 donation to achieve a $100 million campaign raise in 100 days. It's unprecedented. It's never been accomplished in this country. When I speak to people about it, I can tell they're trying to be kind and say, "Man, that's aggressive," or "That's interesting." But I don't know that unless you feel it in your heart, it's difficult to comprehend achieving this. We feel we're led to this because this $100 million will allow us to qualify for a variety of very beneficial matching fund grants, a lot of last mile grants. A lot of organizations want to fund the last 25% of a project. I want you to get to the first 3 quarters of it. So by raising this capital, we believe we ultimately will be able to turn the $100 million raise into over $1 billion in available funds over the next 5 to 7 years, which will allow us to permanently house 6,720 homeless veterans in phase 1 of our operations. Again, and each one of those veterans having the opportunity to own their home. Our other resources are busy doing just this, creating relationships. One of our board members is a 2-star Major General, obviously has great resources and contacts within his 39-year Army experience. So we're trying to find the right people to come along beside us to support the mission. People who believe, as we do, that veteran homelessness is unacceptable. People who look at our model and our vision and agree that this is a reasonable, viable, and scalable solution. Others are operational. We're a nonprofit organization, so we've got to make sure that everything we do is absolutely in accordance to rules and regulations. So we've got people who are doing nothing every single day but ensuring we cross every T and dot every I. I have one gentleman who's forming what we call the Coalition of the Willing, and this is working directly with local, state, and federal level elected officials to change some of the laws and regulations that are going to be required for us to be able to build communities like a Mighty Hero Home Base that have a density that is greater than a lot of the zoning regulations that are on the books. But it's about helping them understand the vision and helping them understand the need for us to think differently in order to create a solution for a problem that so far has escaped traditional measures of solving. We can show through empirical evidence that by housing our homeless veterans in a manner in which they can become self-supportive, the drain on municipality resources in terms of ambulances and ER visits, incarceration, all of these things which cost municipalities a great deal of money on an annual basis in managing homeless, will ultimately result in savings to these organizations, which is just a byproduct. That's not our focus. That's not our effort. Our effort and focus is to ensure that our heroes are healthy and have a home to live in. But that certainly is reason for them to come along beside us. And I'm very thankful for Henry County and the city of McDonough in Georgia for being the first to come along beside us to help us find solutions. There's no cookie cutter or playbook that's already in place that's going to say this fits perfectly into the norm. But the leaders in these organizations have bought into the vision. They understand the value of providing homes and are helping us think creatively to help us navigate the waters, if you will, in order to be able to accomplish the mission as we've set forth.
Well, there you have it, folks. From the CEO, Drew Walston, says that they are fully transparent. Every single dollar is accounted for through his board that he has set up. Again, a dream team down in Georgia. Now, what will your money go toward? It will go toward the Because They Deserve Better campaign. Again, they are asking they are trying to raise $100 million in 100 days, and they're seeking 1 million Americans that agrees with them in their mission that veteran homelessness is unacceptable, and they're asking for a one-time donation of $100. Now, what will the $100 go toward? It will go toward combating and eradicating veteran homelessness in the United States by creating permanent, personal, and affordable housing for homeless U.S. veterans. Now, they will accomplish this mission by manufacturing proprietary Mighty Hero homes on Mighty Hero home bases throughout the United States. Now, Mighty Hero home bases will provide base residents with employment opportunities, health care, and wellness services and other amenities such as commissary, gardens, indoor and outdoor congregation areas. And also, the Mighty Hero Homes Foundation will recruit and empower local businesses, churches, and other civic organizations to sponsor each base resident. And that's where, finding a job and again, having that contribution in a positive way in society once again after years or perhaps, just months on the streets. But regardless, one day or 100 days or 10 years on the streets, being homeless is being homeless. Now, I want to know what your plan is on to reach 1 million Americans in 100 days in raising $100 million. And I know this is unprecedented and it's never been done before, but we are in unprecedented times. So unprecedented times calls for unprecedented goals, if you will. Now, how are you going to get 1 million yeses in 100 days?
Yeah, well, this far exceeds my skill set in terms of the how. That's why we've employed the experts to help us with that. But we believe that anytime that America has had to face a crisis, we come together like no other people in the world. We believe that by us exposing the crisis of veteran homelessness, it's the enemy. And many times in our country's history, when we have a common enemy, whether you're Republican, Democrat, regardless of race, gender, etc., Americans come together to respond to enemy forces. We're declaring the enemy as veteran homelessness. And we believe that enough people will join us in doing a little so that collectively we will do a lot. I wouldn't turn down someone who wanted to stroke a check for a large amount. And if there are those who are listening, we welcome that. However, when a Mighty Hero home-based resident walks into the community center on their base for the first time, their host is going to show them the names inscribed on the walls within that community center. Each name is going to represent each $100 donor, which we call a patriot, who gave of their resources to be there. And the host is going to share with that base resident, you see these names on these walls? These are people who love you, who didn't forget you, and who gave of their personal resources for you to be there. We think that's going to be a much more heartfelt, compelling story and give that veteran the hope that they need, as opposed to showing them one picture of one person who wrote a big check because of their personal wealth for them to be there. So we really are excited about the opportunity to get Americans involved with us. We need voices. We need voices like yours. We need voices of those who have influence. Of course, our marketing firm will deploy all of the current strategies through social media and influencers and things of that nature. But we need people who have the ability to influence others through education. It's not through pressure. We're not asking. And the reason I think the Lord birthed this vision in my heart on this operation, because they deserve better campaign, excuse me, is when I've met with folks who I knew were high net worth individuals, and I began to explain to them the vision, I got a lot of head nodding. Yes, that sounds great. Yes, I want to be involved. As I began to ask them what could they contribute, or would they be willing to help us? It's not an evaluation, but it was like, well, I need to talk to my accountant, or I need to talk to my wife, or we're helping this other organization. But every single time I would ask someone, would you join me in giving a one-time $100 donation to end veteran homelessness in the United States? 1,000% of the time, every single person has said yes. I've been had the opportunity to speak many times in front of groups, sharing with them this campaign. And every single time, before I can say thank you for the opportunity to share this message with you today, there are people standing at the podium handing me $100 bills, and I can see people in the audience on their phones going to our website donating. I mean, that's I get emotional every time I think about those occasions, but that inspires me and gives me the hope and belief that when people understand the true problem, identify that this is a true solution. It's not smoke and mirrors. It's not magic. It's just merely a plan that we believe is executable, I believe that many Americans will say, yes, I will give you a one-time $100 donation. I'm not going to nag you again for more. I'm not going to come back and hit you up again because you gave this time. But we're also asking that next level person to become an ambassador. And that ambassador is merely someone who is a patriot, gives a one-time $100 donation, and then gets 10 friends and family within their circle to do the same. And we have been just humbled and thrilled by the number of people who say, yes, sign me up as an ambassador. I've got 10 people that I can reach out to today that will join me in helping you on this mission. So Operation Because They Deserve Better, we'll have an official launch announcement at some point in time. The urgency is too great to wait. That's why I'm not opposed to sharing it in forums such as this. I talk about it each and every day. I was in a meeting yesterday. We shared about that, and we continually are getting people to donate and to sign up as an ambassador, which all gives me hope and confidence that we're going to do something very special. We need the folks on Fox and Friends and other networks to help us get the word out. We need partnerships with other organizations. We need, again, voices of people who are influencers to say, I believe in this organization. I believe this organization has a solid plan. I've given my $100. Join me in doing the same. So we'll be building that strategy here in the coming weeks and months, and look forward to being able to announce an official launch. But until then, we're going to try to be as viral as we can with a grassroots effort.
Mm-hmm. Sure. And grassroots does work. It's been proven to work. I did it myself. And trust me, if this dumb Marine can do it, anybody can do it. But folks, how can you help Drew, his team, his mission? Go to mightyherohomes.org. That's mightyherohomes.org. And if you guys want to see what I'm talking about, look, you're sitting at the office, you're watching this podcast, perhaps on LinkedIn or iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon, Google Podcasts, YouTube, Facebook, whatever it may be. And you've got this website that just popped up on your screen right now. It says, check out the community and the community layouts. Go to mightyherohomes.org and go to pages and then click Mighty Hero Home Bases. And you will see this village, if you will, because that's what it looks like. It looks like a village. And of course, he's calling them bases because that fits with the veteran, terms there that we're doing here to eradicate veteran homelessness. But these bases are state of the art. I mean, they are very well put together. This is very well drafted by an architect that definitely has the same vision, if you will, as Drew, because I've never really seen anything like it. And I'm not sure if we even have this in the United States yet, as you planned out there. Is there something similar like this going on in the country right now?
There are a number of tiny home communities and tiny home strategies. These are generally planned to be a small 10, a dozen, perhaps more, but a one-time, one location solution. For us, we believe that having the community center and the wraparound services on base is critical. And we believe that creating a footprint where this exact model can be replicated throughout the country is the solution to get us to the macro of solving the problem. And trust me, we take nothing away from anyone who's doing work in this space. In fact, we say anyone that's seeking to positively impact homeless veterans are our friends, our allies, our resources. Every time we encounter someone that's doing something in this space, we seek to identify how we can help them. Every veteran that we take off the street is a win for us all. This is not a competition. We are not searching for the same dollar per se as someone else who's seeking to do their work. But the majority of organizations that exist are temporary and transitional housing solutions for veterans. We want to be their solution for what's next. So they've done a great job of rescuing someone from the street. They've given them the resources to get ready to go back to independent living. The problem is there's no place for them to go right now. So we want to create the opportunity for these organizations to be successful so that the graduate of their program can go into independent living and begin to live a healthy, beneficial, and appropriate life.
Final words here. What's the timeline? Has anybody donated land to you yet anywhere across the country? And when are you breaking ground on your first community?
Great question. We are in the 11th hour, if you will, with our home county, Henry County, and finalizing agreements for land here. They've been very gracious in providing us 20 acres to build our inaugural base. So we're very excited about that. Hope to have that finalized here in the next couple of weeks and be able to break ground in third quarter to fourth quarter 2023. We'll build several bases in 2024. And then in order to accomplish the mission, we'll be building, and this sounds crazy, but we'll be building 20, 30, 40, 50 bases a year over the next several years in order to get to a point where it's a machine. And many people from many different communities will be involved to help us to do this. Our little team is not going to be able to accomplish it at that scale, but we believe our team will grow as the support grows, and we will be well on our way in the coming years of ending veteran homelessness in the United States.
Very good. Very good. Drew, I just want to thank you for joining us today on the program. We sincerely appreciate everything you have done and continue to do in the military and veteran community. Your service, sacrifice, and dedication to our great nation is truly admirable.
Those are kind words. We're just seeking to be obedient to what we've been called to do each and every day. But I'm so grateful for your support, so grateful for the opportunities that hopefully will come from sharing this mission with more people through your great show.
Outstanding. I appreciate that. Folks, if you're looking for a speaker anywhere in the country, go to briantalley.com, my website, briantalley.com. And it's also where we have my new book, I Didn't Choose This Job, It Chose Me. It will definitely inspire, educate, and motivate you to live your life to its fullest potential. And that's what this podcast is all about. Like I said, if you need a motivational speaker to come in and speak on resilience, inspiration, overcoming some of life's most difficult challenges, I encourage you to go to briantalley.com. Folks, don't forget to subscribe to the program. We're on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Facebook, and Twitter. Always remember to stay inspired, stay encouraged, stay motivated, and always stay in the fight. Until next time, for Today with Talley podcast, this is Brian Talley. Good night, Semper Fi, and God bless.